It was an honor to return to this university, an occasion that was meant to be just another royal appearance, another polished evening where tradition shined and the media looked on approvingly. Instead, the night became what palace staff are now calling the most dramatic royal clash since Princess Diana's time. This time, it happened in full view of guests. Witnesses say that at a private Windsor event, Queen Camilla, visibly irritated, exchanged a tense glance with Catherine across the grand ballroom. Moments later, she launched into a furious, deeply personal outburst so intense that senior aides were forced to intervene. The consequences were swift. Within 2 days, the House of Lords quietly issued an unprecedented decree barring Camilla from taking part in future ceremonial events at Parliament. There was no explanation, no official statement, just a sudden, unmistakable message that the Queen Consort could be sidelined. At the heart of the controversy was Catherine, Princess of Wales. What had long been private friction between two of the most influential women in the royal family finally erupted into open conflict. Those close to the palace say the outburst was fueled by years of jealousy, resentment, and old wounds. Camilla is said to have made a cruel comment about Princess Diana, so offensive that even Charles could not defend her. Catherine, shocked and humiliated, was quietly escorted out of the gala by palace security. Much of what truly happened that night remains hidden, but the growing fallout has become impossible to ignore. Royal schedules are now being quietly reshaped, with reports that William has refused to attend any events where Camilla will be present. Following the House of Lords' unprecedented move to limit Camilla's ceremonial role, the monarchy faces one of its most public divisions in recent history. Behind the scenes, the truth about Camilla's public fallout is finally emerging. The confrontation that unfolded in front of Britain's elite and why it could signal the end of her time as a widely accepted queen consort. It began with forced smiles and formal greetings, the kind of surface-level cordiality royals have perfected. The evening, a lavish charity gala at a private Berkshire estate, was meant to symbolize unity. Diplomats, aristocrats, and senior royals gathered under glittering chandeliers to raise money and present a united front. But from the moment Camilla entered, late, flanked by aides and wearing a stormy expression, the tension was unmistakable. Catherine, already working the room with William at her side, greeted foreign dignitaries with her usual warmth and grace. Her elegant floor-length gown, believed to pay homage to one of Diana's iconic looks, drew admiration from guests. But before we continue, we'd love for you to hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying this video. If you just did, we truly appreciate it. Now, let's get back to the main content. That, according to several attendees, was precisely the problem. As she surveyed the room, Camilla was overheard muttering under her breath about Catherine's constant performance. Those close to the royal household have long whispered about Camilla's resentment of Kate's media popularity, but something about this night felt different, more volatile. During dinner, Camilla approached William and Catherine's table. At first it seemed like a polite exchange, but witnesses say her words quickly turned cutting. With a cold tone that carried just enough to be heard nearby, she reportedly dismissed Catherine's public image, saying that the crown was not built on charm and imitation of Diana. The atmosphere froze. William's expression hardened as Catherine sat in stunned silence. Camilla then added a final remark, making it clear that Catherine would never truly be queen while she was still around. At that point, aides stepped in. Two quietly guided Camilla away from the table, while Catherine rose, clutching her silver clutch with trembling hands. She whispered a single word, "Enough," before walking out with William close behind her. No one tried to stop them. The rest of the evening continued in uneasy quiet as Camilla sat rigidly at the table, her expression unreadable. Charles was notably absent. By morning, the story had already spread through private circles. Palace staff scrambled to draft a generic statement denying any incident, but it was too late. Multiple attendees confirmed what they had seen, describing it as one of the most shocking public confrontations in royal history. Back at Kensington Palace, Catherine was said to be devastated. She had endured Camilla's cutting remarks in the past, but this time was different. This time, it happened in front of the world's most powerful guests, and it invoked the one person whose memory she has always fought to protect. This was not just another slight. It was a calculated act meant to humiliate. Insiders say William was furious, not only at Camilla's cruelty, but also at his father's decision to ignore what had happened. Charles, according to those present, slipped away quietly that night and ordered staff to remain silent. But silence could not contain what followed. This was no longer a private family dispute. It had escalated into a full-blown royal crisis. 3 days after the gala, the morning news carried a brief but striking update from the House of Lords press office. Her Majesty the Queen Consort will not be present for upcoming ceremonial proceedings at Westminster. No apology, no explanation, no elaboration. But the absence of detail said everything. For decades, Camilla had been a constant presence at state openings, memorial events, and receptions with members of Parliament. Her sudden removal wasn't just a scheduling change, it was a signal. Behind palace doors, sources confirmed this was not her decision. Camilla had been formally told to step back, not just from this event, but from any future engagements hosted by the Lords. A senior peer, speaking anonymously, noted that while this kind of intervention wasn't without precedent, it was almost unheard of in modern times. It indicates a serious breach of decorum and concern over the public's reaction, the source said. Another was more blunt. When a royal undermines the dignity of the crown in front of government officials and international guests, the consequences cannot be handled quietly. The institution has to protect itself. The message was unmistakable. The monarchy may be a family, but the crown is bigger than any one person. And this time, it had chosen survival over loyalty to Camilla. News outlets quickly seized on the story. Headlines read, "Queen in Crisis" and "Camilla Frozen Out." Sky News hosted a panel titled "Fit for a Crown," where even former palace staff expressed disbelief at how fast Camilla's standing had crumbled. Social media backlash was even harsher. Hashtags like #Justice for Kate, #NotMyQueen, and #House of Lords ban surged across the UK and Commonwealth. Public opinion, already divided about Camilla, turned sharply against her overnight. Adding fuel to the fire, a clip of Diana's 1995 Panorama interview went viral again, the one where she famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." The timing felt almost poetic, and people made sure to draw the connection. People began openly comparing Catherine to the late Princess Diana, saying history seemed to be repeating itself, only this time, the palace wasn't turning a blind eye. The decision by the House of Lords to quietly block Camilla from key ceremonial events sent shockwaves through the monarchy. For years, Camilla had worked to transform her image, from the other woman to the Queen Consort, from scandal to respectability. But one very public outburst and one cruel remark toward the wrong person at the wrong moment unraveled all of that careful rehabilitation. What made it worse was Charles's silence. He issued no statement defending his wife, nor did he show public disapproval. He said nothing at all, as if waiting to see how events would unfold before choosing a side. By the time he might have acted, the damage was done. Camilla was no longer seen as a steadying force. She had become the source of division, and division is something the crown has little patience for. To the public, Catherine and Camilla had always appeared cordial, sharing polite smiles on the balcony, brief nods at formal events, even the occasional laugh caught on camera. But palace staff knew the truth. It was never warmth, only containment. Their rivalry didn't appear overnight. It had been building quietly for years. Unlike Diana, who made her struggles public, Catherine chose dignity and silence, though she was far from unaware. According to sources, the tension stretched back to before William and Kate's 2011 wedding. Camilla was reportedly among those who questioned whether Kate was suited for royal life, allegedly telling Charles that she came from a background that lacked the traditions and toughness expected of a future queen. But the world's reaction to Kate walking down the aisle at Westminster Abbey changed everything. The new Duchess captured the public's admiration effortlessly, graceful, approachable, and steady. She didn't try to compete with Diana's memory, yet somehow evoked it in a way that endeared her to the nation. That was when Camilla's insecurities reportedly began to deepen. As years went on, their relationship became increasingly strained. Insiders say Camilla resented Catherine's natural popularity. While Camilla spent years managing her reputation through charity work, careful media appearances, and patronages, Catherine was adored without having to try. According to one aide, that reality infuriated Camilla, leading her to quietly diminish Kate's presence whenever possible during shared appearances. At one royal function, Camilla allegedly had an aide rearrange the seating so Catherine would be placed 2 rows back, citing protocol. On another occasion, she reportedly joked to foreign dignitaries that Kate was still learning how to curtsy, a comment that left William visibly displeased. But the clearest sign of tension came in 2022, shortly after Queen Elizabeth's passing, when Charles officially granted Catherine the title of Princess of Wales, a title that had once belonged to Diana. According to insiders, Camilla was furious. She had privately hoped the title would be retired in Diana's honor. Instead, the public celebrated the decision as a symbolic passing of the torch to a worthy successor. Even then, Catherine remained silent. She knew her influence came from patience and restraint, one palace source explained. Camilla, on the other hand, believed power came from visibility and control. While Camilla leaned on hierarchy and tradition, Catherine gradually earned genuine loyalty from staff, aides, and even members of the extended royal family. She never demanded authority. She simply embodied the qualities of a future queen. By the time the infamous gala confrontation happened, the rivalry had been building for years. It wasn't just a jealous outburst. It was the breaking point of a long, simmering struggle between a woman who fought her way to the throne and another who rose naturally to her role. With the incident now public, the royal household could no longer pretend all was well. The feud was no longer private. It had become a defining crisis for the monarchy. Insiders say that once William and Catherine returned home that night, William delivered an ultimatum to his father: address Camilla's behavior or face the consequences. Charles, ever the peacemaker, reportedly downplayed the issue. He suggested Camilla had been tired, stressed, and overshadowed, but his attempts to excuse her only angered William further. "He's done protecting people who hurt his family," a source shared. "He saw what happened to his mother. He won't let it happen again." For William, this wasn't about one cutting remark. It was about years of subtle insults, backhanded comments, and now a public attack on the woman he loved. Catherine, true to form, had never retaliated. She carried out her duties with grace and never sought the spotlight. But William had reached his limit. Quietly, he canceled 2 high-profile royal appearances he was scheduled to attend with his father. Officially, his team cited scheduling conflicts, but insiders say it was deliberate, a clear signal that he would not play along while Camilla faced no accountability. The move wasn't just personal. It was a calculated show of strength. Those close to the monarchy say the rift revealed the true power dynamics within the royal family. Charles may wear the crown, but it's William and Catherine who hold the public's loyalty. Polls showed support for the Prince and Princess of Wales soaring after the scandal, while Camilla's popularity suffered its steepest decline since the early 2000s. Even within palace walls, allegiances were shifting, and the divide was impossible to ignore. Reports suggest senior aides have split into 2 factions: traditionalists who remain loyal to Charles and Camilla, and modernizers who see William and Catherine as the monarchy's best chance for survival in the future. One palace insider put it starkly. If public opinion decided it, William would already be king. What unsettled the palace most wasn't William's anger, it was Charles's refusal to act. Despite increasing pressure, the king stayed silent. He offered no apology, no explanation, no statement at all. Some viewed this as a calculated choice to let the controversy fade on its own. Others saw it as weakness, a father avoiding responsibility and a monarch putting personal comfort above the crown's reputation. The already fragile relationship between Charles and William has reportedly deteriorated further. Sources say William now communicates with his father only through intermediaries. Their last direct interaction was described as tense, formal, and strictly focused on official matters. Through it all, Catherine has remained composed. She has continued her public duties with the same calm poise, offering no comment on the turmoil around her, even as tensions within the palace reach a breaking point. The royal family has weathered wars, scandals, and even abdications. But this crisis has exposed a deeper fracture, one that may redefine the monarchy's future.